if you could take us back to what it was like being stuck in your landscape business, stuck in the day-to-day, frustrated as hell, dealing with client complaints, wanting a way out. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so it was really painful, to be honest with you. I think it's funny because the reason I made the changes that I did were through necessity. I just couldn't handle the stress anymore. And I realized that somebody had to be what I would call the chief improvement officer in the business, only focused on process solutions. And the reason for that is then I'd have a high focus on results that would be transferable to the rest of the team. And so I removed myself literally from the day-to-day. I didn't go on sales calls, pretty much none of that. And I focused on getting better. And one process at a time, thousands of processes later, our business is pretty dialed in. It is pretty much turnkey. And I can say that with complete confidence because here's some facts. The business can run without me. The leaders there know what to do and when to do it. They can set budgets. They can follow budgets. They can run all the meetings. They can hire. They can fire. Everything happens without us. And that's pretty cool. And so that can't happen unless you create a turnkey system for your business. And of course, the fact of the matter is you got to have some amazing people too. So you have to have people that are open to change, number one, and you have to have great leaders. And I think great managers are super important at every level, from the production level, people producing the work, right up to the mid-level management, right up to the senior management. You have to have great managers, and they're not that common. So, if you have the wrong person in that chair that's running the business, you will at best idle, at worst you will start to flounder. So, it's all about getting the right people. And yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. The companies that are successful have absolute A teams, and you can't do it with a B team. Anybody that tells you that you can just have a great process and have great results, forget about it. You got to have people that worry about your business for you, and they're not that common. They're out there, and again, it's a race for talent.
And can you take us back to, was it around 2020 when you were still stuck in the day-to-day, or around when was that?
Yeah, 2020 is when I made the conscious choice to no longer be involved in the day-to-day whatsoever, and I focused on just making the business better, essentially. We moved to the cloud completely. That was a huge help. That allows us to organize properly and be able to reach everybody in the company at every corner of the company in the most efficient way. We could have meetings virtually. We could have meetings in person. And it literally took me stepping away and then empowering others. And the way they were empowered is A, I had the right people. B, I gave them great processes that they were part of producing. So it wasn't my siloed efforts to change the business. It was a group effort to, like, what process is going to work? Does this make sense? A lot of interruptions during that period, to try and regain, the flow of information. So it wasn't, all about me. It became we. And that was, I think, tough on everybody. The good news is now that we've set it up, it's repeatable. We can take the same process and just implement it somewhere else. So, creating the process and running the business at the same time are 4 full-time jobs.
And so it sounds like there was a kind of inflection point where, like after that moment, like things really started to transform, rapidly. And so can you take us like to what your life was like just before that inflection point? What is maybe like, is there a story or is there something that happened where you realize, like, I can't keep on doing things like the way I have been for like 35 years?
Yeah, so I think we kept dropping the ball and different balls in different places. And I'm like, unless I figure out a way to not drop the ball, this is going to be an ongoing process. And, chief firefighter is going to be here to save the day. And after a while, that gets exhausting. So really, we literally went through all of our biggest problems, and then we organized lists of like what we do first through meeting structures to make sure that those problems didn't happen again. And so, one of them was a design checklist, making sure that our designs went through every single possibility that could go wrong from the municipal bylaw standards. an absolute nightmare. And then we went through failure checkpoints, like why is this thing going to fail from a construction standpoint, from an environmental standpoint, from a, when we talk about environment, we talk about wind, we talk about water, we talk about noise, we talk about different types of soil. So where's the failure going to happen and how do we mitigate that? Because every time we make a mistake, we pay for it 2 or 3 times. And so the trick really is to eliminate the mistakes. And so the processes are there to keep guardrails in place so that we don't screw up. That's the first thing. Don't screw up. And you have to have a process for that. It has to be a certain way, certain steps.